What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Daily Smoke Live. I'm Brother Los.
Brother Jam.
Brother Ron.
Brother Blackhand.
Brother Blackhand on the cam as always back there with
Sir.
us. Thank y'all for joining us today. Another edition of the Daily Smoke, 7 o'clock. Don't forget, if you're watching us right now, like. I always say, hit that like button. Hit that like button. And if you don't like it, don't hit none, just go away.
Absolutely.
We don't want the dislike either, but it don't take but a second. If you're watching right there, whatever device you're watching, you can hit that like button right
We're
now.
okay with people who want to hate watch us too, because we can take the watch hours.
Right.
Hey.
If you dislike us, then watch us because you hate us.
Even hate showing some love.
Don't hit that thumbs down shit though. Don't hit-
Showing some love.
You can always chat with us, talk some shit on the
Look,
chat.
leave a comment as to why you hate us.
That hate showing us some love. That hate showing us some love.
Hopefully everybody had a good weekend, and thank y'all again for being here with us every day, Monday through Friday. Daily Smoke, 7 o'clock. That's our time. Whatever it is your time, 7 o'clock Central Standard, or is it still daylight? It's still daylight, right? Central
We haven't
Daylight
switched over
Time.
yet. Not
Yeah,
yet.
it's
Not
still
yet.
Central Daylight
Are
Time.
we not supposed to switch over? Didn't they pass that?
They got rid of that shit?
When?
No, I thought they were going to get rid of the whole daylight.
Yeah, they were supposed to. I
No,
remember
we switching time.
a few months back. I thought they passed a thing saying that we wasn't gonna do that no more.
I guess I saw it in my phone. So you know what I mean? Whatever my iPhone
The phone
say,
do it on its
that's
own.
what the
Yeah, the
truth
phone
is.
do it on them. But okay, maybe they passed it. Maybe they hadn't kicked in yet. But okay, I'm gonna have to look that up because I remember there was. If anybody out there remembers what I'm talking about, put it in the chat because I remember a few months back they passed some kind of law saying
I
they were
believe
gonna
it.
do away with it.
I believe you.
So we don't, now that we're getting closer to an energy crisis, we don't need that shit no more. That's why they started it. You know, they wanted the days that last longer. So but we lights are on all day long anyway.
All I'm saying is, hey man, whether we switched up to daylight saving times or we don't do it no more, I'm not honoring any holidays. I'm not honoring anything until my phone tells me when it's time.
Today,
So what I see on this thing,
Today is
no more
Thanksgiving.
daylight saving time or today Thanksgiving. That's what we gotta go by.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
When your phone say it's 7 o'clock, it's 7 o'clock, no matter what.
Whatever this thing say, that's what it is.
Right. Usually on a calendar, it'll tell you when it is, what day.
That's when the legislation hits.
Yeah, but you know, if something changes in the middle of the year,
I
calendars
figure
might
out
have to-
Indiana never used it. Arizona never used it. They stayed
Yeah,
on the
that's true.
regular time.
they stayed on a standard time.
That's
Yeah.
true. That's true.
That tripped me out one time. I went from Pittsburgh. I was driving to Missouri, and I'm listening to the radio, and they're talking about the time. Everything's cool, and then I'm inside Indiana. I didn't know, and for some reason they set the time or something. I'm looking at my clock on the car. I'm like, something ain't right.
Right.
It wasn't until I got to where I was going that I looked up, and it said Indiana doesn't observe. I'm like, that's what it was. But
That's
it was
crazy.
tripping me out. I'm like, wait a minute. I know my shit is set. Like, even my watch is the same. Why are they talking about a different time? I haven't crossed over to Central Time.
Right,
You know,
right,
I'm still in
right.
Eastern Time here. So that threw me off. I was like, damn, that fucked me
All
up.
confused.
Yes, I'm glad I
wonder what
looked
that
up.
must be like to live without having that time change though.
Like it
You ever
was
visited?
before.
You ever went out there to visit?
No, never had a reason to.
It's weird. Like I was in Phoenix, Arizona, and it's weird when you're in that kind of time zone because you start seeing people like crashed out, sleep like they are just like in the middle of their best sleep ever, and it's 5 a.m. and the sun is out bright. You know what I mean?
Right.
So like they're not responding to like, you know, Eastern, you know, that, you know, they in something totally different. So like you're thinking to yourself like, damn, you waking up and then like you wiping out, you know, the sleep is out your eyes, you trying to get your body up together. It's 5 o'clock, 5:15 because the sun is right there. You know what I mean?
Sounds like Alaska.
But sounds like Alaska. But they knocked out cold until 7 o'clock, man.
right.
Versus us, we still need some like little bit of darkness and dim. You know what I mean?
Right.
You start waking up around 7 o'clock when the sun first start coming out. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's that time zone stuff, man. That's how it messes everything up.
I remember in Germany, it gets
It's
dark.
different. It's different.
In Germany, it get dark about 9:30, 10 o'clock.
See what I mean?
And it was
It's different.
It would already be light by 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
Because we would go to the club.
Yeah.
And we could say, yo, we could literally say we were here all night. Because
Yes.
we got here at night. We're walking
Yes.
out. Damn, the sun's
Time
out.
zone mess you up.
It's 6 o'clock in the morning, you know. And I mean, it does make somewhat of a difference because we get used to when we do that change
Yes,
at the
we do.
beginning.
We do.
get used to, it's starting to get dark earlier.
We do.
Or it's not so dark. It's 8 o'clock. Like right now, it's still like in about a month, it's going to be dark right now.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing, man. When I went to
used to
visit
that shit.
when I went to visit Connecticut, I mean, it was looking like it was pitch black, like Halloween night. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And it's like damn near what, 6 o'clock?
It's already dark.
It's already dark.
They
You know
get
what I
it quicker than we
mean?
do,
At
yeah.
6 o'clock, I'm like, damn, where'd my afternoon go? My evening go? You know what I mean? Where'd all that go?
That's at work.
6 o'clock, it is dark.
Right. You work all day.
know?
You go to work.
Yeah,
in the morning,
man.
It's lights. You go home.
So you start getting used to more darkness than lightness. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Those time zones will mess you up, man.
And then in Alaska, 6 whole months of just nothing but light.
Oh,
and
shoot
it's not
me
as
now.
bright,
Shoot
but
me
it's
now.
it's light.
Honestly,
Yeah.
I think I could live in an environment like that. I'm not saying with 100% certainty, but I've thought about that for quite some time. In a place where it's dark for 6 months,
Uh-huh.
I think I could do that. I think I might have a problem with the sunlight for 6 months.
I know.
But the dark for 6 months, I think I could do that. Especially with it being cold. We ain't going nowhere, man.
Little vampire.
Man,
you.
oh my God.
That's your inner
my-
vampire coming out.
Dude, have you ever seen that movie 30 Days and Nights?
No, I haven't, but I knew what you're talking about. I
Okay.
wanted to see that movie.
And that was
Absolutely.
based on a comic book, on a graphic
Oh,
novel.
there we go.
Yeah, and the story is basically these vampires come and take over a town in Alaska because they know it's gonna be dark for 6 months,
Oh,
and so they can basically
that's
just like
brilliant.
go through that area and just like slaughter everybody because you don't have to hide from the sun for
Six-
six whole months.
Brilliant.
6 months of
We'll deal with that
killing.
later. You know what I mean? When we
6
go to
months
the
of
second
killing,
one, we'll deal with that later.
Just go on a rampage.
Wow.
You have to be careful with your kids in January, when it's dark then, but come summertime. All right, make sure y'all come home when the lights are on.
Okay.
They'll be gone for 6 months before you turn the light on because it's light the whole time.
Okay, so Mr. Comic Book Man, I have a question.
Okay.
So if it stays dark for 6 months straight, what you're saying is these vampires, no one's going to sleep for 6 months.
Well, in this story, what they would basically do is like descend on those small towns
Okay.
and just kill everybody.
But would they go to sleep is my question.
The humans?
No, the vampires.
No, vampires don't have to sleep. They're dead. Remember, vampires are undead.
But whenever the sun get ready to come out, they show them going in their coffins or they have to get on the ground, have to kind of get away from
Oh, you mean after the 6 months?
Yeah, you know what I mean? What are they going to do
gotta
then?
stay asleep for
Oh,
6
now
months.
I don't know. Because in the story, the town that they attack,
They in
some
trouble.
people wind up start standing up to them and they wind up killing them all. Spoilers.
Oh,
We gotta wait till it gets
So
light.
they wind up
pull
killing them.
Or
Yeah.
they're gonna be sleeping.
But that's the only reason why vampires sleep, because the sun, they don't, they want to go to sleep when the sun is up and then they come out and the sun is out,
But if you think about it, if you
You
didn't
never
already
go to sleep.
if you didn't already plan this attack,
months.
then you didn't thought about what you're gonna do when that time comes.
You never going to sleep. That's my question. Is like,
gonna
do
relocate
vampires never go to
somewhere
sleep?
In the
for
movie,
6
they were
months straight?
hiding out, pretty much just not just out there in the tundra or whatever. They were actually hiding on the ship, and when the sun is now down,
That's when they come out, right?
They park their shit, do what they got to do, wipe out the town,
Right.
Make sure it's wiped off the map,
Right.
Nobody knows about the shit,
Right.
And then go to the next one and do the same thing. When
Okay.
it's time to go back, they hop back on their ship and they kind of do.
Hide from the sun, right?
6 months.
So when the sun is out, what are they doing?
Sleeping
Sleeping.
for 6
Right.
months.
Yeah.
What if there is no sun? So that means they stay up all damn night long, 24 hours a day, eating
Right.
people all day long.
Until they
Woo!
so they can hibernate for them 6 months when they're out on the boat.
Right. So they can be out there.
Woo! These boys
Nice and
smart.
full.
But it was
Smart vampires,
that
boy.
was a terrifying damn story for real though, man.
Smart vampires, they ought to call them.
But you think before it start to get light again, they already got
Oh
plans
yeah,
to
they be ready. Yeah.
relocate somewhere where we only have a few hours of night, a few hours of day, so they don't have to sleep for 6 months.
Because if you think about it, it'd be
So
just
no
like
sleep.
here, like we know the sun gonna rise in the east, so you just gonna follow. You
Right.
gonna make sure your boat is offshore as far west as you can go. So
Always
you
at
just
night.
gonna run from the sun the whole time.
Right.
In the Anne Rice Chronicles, Chronicles of the Vampire Chronicles. That's what I'm trying to think of. Akasha, the queen of the vampires, did that with Lestat at one point because she could fly. but she was, being that she was the oldest and most powerful vampire, she could fly faster than anybody. So she literally spent months traveling with Lestat where they were just outrunning the sun.
Oh, it's
So
pretty cool.
whenever it would
Start
get
getting daytimes,
she grab and fly, and they go to another time zone where it was going to be night for a few more hours.
before it comes back up.
I was like, damn.
Right. So, anyways, let's pay some bills like we normally do. And of course, our sponsor, Bangin' 832 Radio, www.bangin832.com. You can catch past episodes of the Daily Smokes on Sundays at 7 o'clock, as always, 7 o'clock, 7 o'clock. And they also have a bunch of other programmings that you can do. You can just listen to the music. You can check out some of their other podcasts and whatever else they do on there. And it's just like a regular radio station, so you can enjoy all. If you're from Houston, you'll enjoy what they do and the people they have on, because you'll know who they are. And then we got Tamia's Touch of Care Massage Therapy. Touch my body. www.tamiaanderson.com. To get with life, get a massage. Touch my body, as we say. Or because she's the trainer, bust me, get with life, get a massage. And then this one you're not going to want to miss. This is Kuji Chagalia Part 4. Relationality speaking, right? This is on Saturday, October 8th from 2 to 5 p.m. And you can find it at Midtown Art Center, 3414 LaBranch Street, Houston, Texas, 77004. Events, Kuji Chagalia, and you'll find that. You do not want to miss that. This is going to be good. And I believe part of this show, the second hour, she says, is going to be talking to us. So if you're there, you'll get to talk to us live, ask us questions live, do what you got to do. But don't forget to go to Eventbrite to get the tickets for that.
Y'all gonna be on the panel.
Yeah, and you're gonna be there with us too.
Of course. I've done it before.
We got the Buy Black Marketplace at the Shrine of the Black Madonna. Don't forget to check them out every first and third Saturday of the month from 12 to 6. And it's at 5309 MLK Boulevard here in Houston, Texas. And again, if you watch the TGIF, this really is on MLK. You'll find this. You'll find this one. If you find any of the other ones, let me know, because I want to go to Joyce's Chicken.
I know, huh?
I want to go check that out.
Right.
So, and if you want to be a vendor for this, you go to www.thebuyBlackMarketplace.com and you can become a vendor. So if you have anything to sell, go get yourself set up so people can do that. Or if not, just go and support black businesses and these artists that are there trying to. I mean, according to what they do, they have African history class. They have different things about cooking, yoga classes, a lot of different things. So go out there and enjoy a Saturday afternoon with the fam, and me too. I wanted to learn how to yoga, because I can't bend for shit. I
know, man.
I can't bend for shit.
So
and as always, if you want to know more about any of our sponsors, affiliates, and family, go to our website, www.thedailysmoke.com, THA dailysmoke.com. Scroll down and you'll see the pictures of all the people that are affiliated with us. Click the link and it'll take you straight to them. And if you want to donate to us, of course, y'all do know this already, Cash App, $TD Smoke. Anything you donate is welcome. It helps us bring better content to you, better visual to you, better audio to you. So make sure y'all check that out. If you really like what we do, hit us up, $TD Smoke. Just watching, liking, sharing. Like I said, liking, watching the whole thing, giving us the view hours, and subscribing and getting people to subscribe. That's enough right there. And share all our content with as many people as you can, because we are the best unknown podcast, and we need to get more people to come watch us, just like you do each and every day. So then Monday through Friday, 7 o'clock, you're gonna get something from us. So make sure y'all do that. So hopefully y'all had a great weekend. It's Monday. First day, nigga.
Absolutely.
Back in it. Back at it.
Back in the game. Back in the
Absolutely.
game.
Diving
Back
in
at
deep,
it.
ain't we? Diving in deep.
Yeah.
Fire,
So
literally,
good, so
right?
far, so good.
Yeah, man.
So far, so good. You liking it?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm liking it, man. It's all good. I love the transition. I'm liking everything about
That's
it.
cool. Cool. That's cool.
Thank you.
Try to get away from that shit.
No doubt. No doubt. No doubt
Without
about it.
that, you can't do shit in this world.
For real, man.
Gotta have some money.
It's a necessary evil.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
So, John,
Yo.
when you saw the title of this episode is Religion, a Thing of the Past, a Vision of Hope, or a necessary evil? What were some of the things that initially came to mind when you first saw that?
And we've had a discussion along these lines before, but I'm in the camp of, I think it's a thing of the past. I think it's going to be one of those things where it eventually will fade out somewhat. It'll never go away completely, I don't think. And even some of the things some of the research I was doing when knowing that we was going to talk about this, even bore that out. It kind of, like the research that they've done into it, the numbers that they looked into it, even kind of bear that out. That it'll probably never go away, because there'll always be some portion of the population who, if nothing else, you find comfort in it. But it will be one of those things, I think, over time, and I'm not talking anytime soon, but I think over time it'll eventually lose some of its grip on our society, and people will realize more that you can have a moral society without the framework of a religion, of a religious context.
I feel that.
I feel that. What about you, Los? What came to mind when you first saw that?
For me, I mean, at first, the necessary evil, I thought, no, I'm not going to think of that, because to a lot of people, that's got nothing to do with evil. I understand in the framework of our world, some people can see it as that. But for me, I see it more as maybe a vision of hope, because of the dark days that we're about to come through. People are going to start going to that, because it's already here. I don't think it's ever going to go away, because it's been around for thousands of years. That shit's not going away. The people are so deep into it that they're not going to want to get out of that. So that's why I say, more of a vision of hope, because, as resources start to go, people are going to rely on this even more and more. So they're going to use it as a vision of hope. Hopefully that.
So it's going to become a symbol of hope.
Yeah. So that my religion can save me, or according to what they believe, they know what's coming. So it's, that's why they're going to be more into their vision of hope, because it's like, hey, yeah, hopefully it does turn out this way, so I can finally get to where I'm supposed to be, because of my religion. Whether it's heaven, Valhalla, wherever you go, you're really gonna be into that then, because man, it's getting bleak out here. Man, I really hope that when I go, I'm in where I'm supposed to be, because I believe in this all this time and shit.
And
what's up, Mama?
One of the things that I saw, I think that I was looking at this report that was from it was the University of Michigan, and it was a report that they did on religiosity, and it was around the world. They weren't just looking at the U.S. They were looking overall. Good. And one of the things that they were talking about is that there has been a significant rise in atheism throughout the world, or people who just don't declare that they believe in any type of religion. Now, for the first time, of course, and we all heard this when the census came out a little while ago, that for the first time, America was on the decline when it came to the religiosity. So for a very long time in the world of stats and people who look at those kind of numbers, America was one of those outliers, because most countries that industrialize or have a certain level of general comfort for their population, you see a decrease in religiosity. Okay, but America was always odd, because we had that high level of comfort, but we still always had a high level of religiosity. But just recently, as of I think it was either 2019 or 2020 when they did it was 2020 when they did the census. And so the numbers that came out of that show that for the first time, there was not only a decline in the number of people who declared themselves as religious in this country, but a significant decline. Like I think, if I remember right now, I'm sorry, I don't remember the exact numbers, but I want to say it was actually going to be like a slight minority for a change. And so that was just the kind of situation that was like, people were shocked, that this is happening. But and I brought that up to say that in that report, they were talking about one of the triggers that you see for increases in religiosity in any given country is that disasters, hard times, things like COVID and stuff like that, because of the difficulties involved with that and the fear, the uncertainty, those type of motivations, that tends to push people towards religion. And so for the next few years, especially depending on how climate change and stuff is doing us, with the tragedies and disasters that's going to come out of that, you probably will see a rise. But I still think in the long term, if we can ever get our living stabilized, I still think it will eventually fade. But again, I'm talking on a long-term scale. I'm talking centuries, down the road before human beings would even be to a point where I think that would happen.
No, but I think because when they go to Mars, it could start happening right there.
If we colonize Mars, then that'll make it happen a lot sooner. Because the population that you're gonna have that would be the first people on Mars more than likely be scientists.
They're not gonna take religion.
And they may not focus very much on religion,
but
just out of
coming.
They're gonna bring it with them.
And we're gonna bring our beliefs with us.
Right.
They're coming.
But when you have and we've had this discussion before,
Okay.
but when you have the first generation that's born off planet, they're gonna feel so disconnected from everything that has to do with this planet.
Right. So
You know what I'm saying? Including our history. So when you look at the framework of religion, it may not work on another planet.
See, for the sake of our viewing audience, I'm gonna keep it on surface level. So you would argue that religion is about to go out the door because it no longer serves a function. It's no longer a viable or it's no longer a credible tool to use.
It's been misused so many times.
But you see it as nothing more than a tool.
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
It's just a tool.
Definitely. It's just it was a way for our ancestors to understand the world when they didn't have a better way to understand it. You know what I'm saying? When you don't understand what causes lightning and thunder, then you say, oh, that's some god up in the sky is angry and he's, causing this to happen on us, and woe be us because he's angry. So we have to do something to appease him and make the storm go away. Okay, even if that sounds like something you would tell a child at night, you got to realize we're talking about primitive men. When they didn't know a tenth of what we understand, as far as even the common man, a tenth of what the common man would understand as far as science and the way the world works. So it was a framework, and also it was a social framework, because you have to realize that religion evolved to help society stay together, to build cohesion. If I come to you and I say, hey man, if we all hanging out in here and you passing gas all the time, then your punishment is going to be, we're going to punch you, everybody get to punch you one time. Okay, that's a threat, and that might keep you from doing something we don't want you to do.
Mm-hmm.
But if I tell you your soul is going to burn in hell for all eternity,
Think about that.
especially if I convince you of that at a young age, you know what I'm saying? Your psyche is already open to the idea of, okay, this could be true. You believe it and you move on from there, and that's just becomes the reality of your situation. You're not going to step out of certain bounds within the whatever framework your society has built this around, because ultimately it's going to lead to you being, in the fires of Hades, or whatever punishment your particular religion might dictate. If you get reincarnated lower on the chart, has those checks and balances that help a society stay cohesive, and that's one of the things that religion is designed to do. But we're starting to see more and more that we can have that, even in some cases, a religious framework trying to apply that to too large of a population, like with some of the stuff that's going on in the U.S. right now with Roe v. Wade and all of that.
Sure.
You're imposing a religious belief system on a large populace, and everybody don't agree with that.
Let me ask you a question. So the topic again is it a necessary evil? Is it a vision of, hope? Or I forgot the other. It was a thing of the past. And I think it's fair to say that in terms of to make sure we do justice by you and make sure we understand you. When we say you see religion as a thing of the past, that's because you see the arc of human evolution. Like if we keep going in this specific direction, and we start becoming more and more scientific in our thinking and calculating in our thinking, and we deal with the things that we take for granted.
I wouldn't say scientific, because I don't like to put science up against religion. I don't see it that way. You know what I'm saying? Science is, again, just another tool.
Sure, sure.
You know, it just so happens to be a different tool from religion. So, and science really, science doesn't apply in a lot of real ways to the condition of humanity. Science is just for knowledge. That's like, you know, an encyclopedia versus a romance novel. A romance novel is going to feed something inside of you that speaks to the romance and the fire in your soul, because that's the kind of material it is. But science is just a way to understand things. That's all. So I don't like to put that on the same level as religion.
So science is so I think a lot of times we get a lot of I think a lot of times when you have people that try to have this conversation, you know why you have so much argument? Because they're not understanding what they're almost is. Religion is a way of life. Science and the scientific method is just a method.
Right.
That's all it is.
Exactly.
It's just a method.
Yes.
That's all it is. Okay. The reason that I thought I was hearing you clearly was because when you say that religion is a tool that will eventually, if we keep in this direction, if you look at the direction that we're going as a species, we're leaving those things that are like, we leave to like God's will or angels or that kind of stuff. And we're starting to deal with observable knowables.
Right.
And that's what I ain't seen no God, I ain't heard no God, well, but I know this mountain right here. You know what I mean? And here's how much it weighs, and here's how I got here. You understand what I'm saying? You start to take more of that type of approach towards life. So if I understand you correctly, then there's no need for you and your rational mind to even have to entertain religion. So you just see it as things of the past.
Right.
Okay. My question then is, why does it keep coming up?
Because in part what I was saying
It's like
before,
a disease, they won't go away.
but in part for what I was saying
Right.
before, when you think about it, when humans go through difficulties, through most natural disasters, even if you think about recent history, you know, when you hear about these tidal waves and what's those things they have, the earthquakes that are out in the middle of the ocean, tsunamis. Yeah. So when they have these tsunamis and those things happen, these floods now in India and all this kind of stuff, what happens is in those kind of situations, you see a rise in religiosity because people have these experiences where they're suffering. And one of the things that humans do, and they described it as, in the article from the University of Michigan, they described it as level 1 and level 2 thinking.
Okay.
Level 2 is our logical side. That's the side that operates on observable things and things that you can see and know and quantify in class and recognize patterns and so on and so forth. Level 1 was the instinctual part of our brain, the part that operates on instinct, intuition, and things like that.
Absolutely.
And it also is the part that's responsible for our beliefs in things that may be outside of the realm of the knowable. So that's the part of your thinking that deals with faith issues. And they were saying that in those times, and I like the phrase they used, said there's a God-sized hole in the way man thinks as a species that is always going to look, especially in situations where you're dealing with suffering, that part of your brain is always going to look to fill it with something outside of itself. And so it's the way our brains are almost wired to work that way, to look for something bigger than ourselves to be able to relate to and use it as a framework to try to understand the world. So that's why I say it's always going to exist with us. It's always going to be a part of humanity, even if nothing else for cultural significance, because you got to think about it, things like holidays, you know, family get-together events. So a lot of those things are tied around religions. I don't think we'll ever get rid of, you know, certain holidays or seasonal observations of different things. So those kind of things will always be a part of us, I think. But we will have come to a point where religion takes more of a backseat in society and becomes more of a personal thing, something that you maybe observe with a few friends, and y'all, you know, go through the practices and rituals and whatever, because that's a way you find comfort.
When
See, that's why I say more of a vision of hope, because a lot of that shit you just mentioned, these disasters, we're going to be facing a
Yes,
whole lot more
we
of
are.
that shit coming out. So maybe after this vision of hope that I'm saying, because of
Religion.
this religion that, I hope that, I know what's coming, all these disasters going to hold. So this vision of having this religion that hey, if anything happens, I know I'm going to be good if I believe in this.
But that's precisely the point.
Yeah.
If we're doing, as John is saying, the direction we should be going, it's a more analytical approach, then we should start seeing less and less of what we've been holding to formally in our species in terms of, the concept of religion, not the faith, not the individual faiths themselves. That all falls under religion. It all falls under it. Religion is religion. It's all, you understand? It's all under the same tarp. If we're talking about religion, my only issue is two things. And I promise you, I hear you clearly. I would, let me stick it to one. I would like to know this, John. Whenever there is a time of distress, man has a natural inclination towards attaching to themselves something that is bigger than them.
Yeah.
And the argument is, what is the name of whatever that something that's bigger is? Is it God? Is it Jehovah? Is it Allah? Is it whatever the name is that we identify with in religion? We have different names. That's how we have religions. Come on, let's think this through practically. Be practical.
Okay.
So the names that we have for the God, that's where the argument is.
Okay.
But before the argument, every single believer of every single faith, if they had a true experience, their first experience was oneness. Oneness with something else that's bigger than me, other people around me, me and my relationship with the animals around me, me and the way I treat the earth around me, me and the way I treat myself, me and the way I treat my others. You understand? So they connect with something bigger. My question is, why does that never go away if religion is a thing of the past?
And again, like I said, it's at least from the material that I was looking through, it was saying that that's almost a hardwired thing into the way humanity thinks. So it'll stick around. But
so if it'll stick around, is it something that's innately in us, or is it something that we got by way of being conditioned? Because if we got conditioned for that experience, then we're on the clock. Right? We're on the clock. If it was a conditioned experience, religion is on the clock. If religion is on the clock, okay, cool. Back to the question first started. Then why won't this part go away? It keeps coming back up. So that must mean that it's naturally a part of us.
right.
Okay. All right. I've been trying to get you to that point because I want to say this part. So then if religion is something that is a part of us, why are the numbers going down now? Faith across the planet is dropping.
Yes.
Why are the numbers dropping?
Because you have to realize what we're talking about is something that is innate to human nature.
Mm-hmm.
But if a bug was to crawl across your finger right now,
Mm-hmm.
your innate reaction is going to be to jerk your hand back, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Switch that bitch.
But you have people who train themselves to be able to deal with situations where I would normally jerk myself, but I've conditioned myself not to respond.
Oh, looks like we have a caller. Yeah.
Do we have a call? Yes, we do.
You got yours?
Oh,
Joyce.
Josh up in here.
You got it?
Okay, you got to turn your volume down for us.
Hello, can you hear us? Can you hear us?
That was Mama Joyce.
You want to speak the phone?
Oh, wait,
Okay.
Hold on.
1 second.
There we go.
The TV. Volume down on the TV.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes,
we
now we
We
can.
can hear you way better now.
Thank you so much.
Right.
And just for the audience, who do we have calling in?
Oh,
Okay,
volume on
so
TV.
she's trying to follow us on the TV.
Oh, I'm
There's a
sorry.
delay.
Yeah, so turn down the volume on your TV. Okay.
Okay, so the volume. I'm trying to put the volume down on the TV.
All right.
No, I'm trying. Okay. Good?
All right. Can you hear us okay now?
Yeah, you good?
Yep.
Yes, you may want to turn the volume down of your TV.
Delay. Delay.
Yeah.
Delay.
The delay or not, you got to turn the TV
I need you
volume
to turn the
down.
volume down.
Yeah, if you have a mute button, just hit the mute button for us.
Yep. Don't listen to us on the TV.
Yeah, because you're going to always be behind if you listen to the TV.
I put it down. Just put it down. If I put it on mute, what happens?
Then you'll be able to hear us through the phone.
I'm trying. Well, it doesn't
Just,
work
just,
like that.
just turn your TV off. Just turn your TV off. It's okay. Just turn your TV off.
Okay, how about that?
All right.
Okay, talk to us. Call us. So tell us who you are and what's your question or your statement.
Okay. I'm not going to look at later on it, but I think that the reason why man's religion will never become obsolete or never go away is because man is born with that inside of him. He's born with this innate ability, not even ability, but this I can't really speak of the word, but this quest to know something greater than himself.
Caller, I'm sorry. We're having bad difficulty hearing you on air. I'm sorry. We're going to have to.
Oh, y'all can't hear me?
Yeah,
Okay.
they keep going in and out.
Yeah, I'm not sure why it's coming in and out.
Okay, bye-bye then. I'm sorry.
No.
It's okay. We appreciate you. We'll figure it out next time. We appreciate you calling in. Thank you.
Type in your question.
Yeah, type in your question and we'll do our best to address it online.
All right.
Thank you. Okay, that was unfortunate. I'm so sorry.
so sorry about that. Yeah, I'm not sure why that wasn't working right.
We apologize for
You can
that.
hear it, but you can't.
Yeah, that's a problem.
So the OBS was picking it up.
But yeah, so we were talking about, I think you were making the case of why that component of us still just will not leave.
Well, like I said, I mean, it's an evolutionary thing, and it's a response to not understanding.
Awesome.
Let's see if we can get her in.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Shouldn't have come through. You
Okay.
got to turn your
Oh, wait.
If you hear me. Yeah, but you're not hearing me, right?
I can hear.
It's
Is
off.
that any better?
It's off.
We can hear you.
Okay,
Go
can you
ahead.
hear us? Okay, I think we can hear you now. So, how what was your question? I'm sorry. Yes, ma'am.
You can hear her well?
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Man, the feedback coming in.
Because
You hear it? It's a delay, a long delay.
do you have the volume up on your TV?
Oh, she turned it off.
No,
I need you to turn your television off.
She said she did.
She did, and she still has feedback.
Does she have her phone on speakerphone?
Yeah, I know. I think it's my phone. I really, yeah.
Okay.
I think it's my phone. The
That's
volume, I
okay.
don't know about this.
Talk like that. We'll be able to hear you.
This is resume your podcast because I think it's my phone.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Now,
Thank
she
you for
did
trying.
something about how man were born with this in us already. When she
Yeah.
tried to
Yeah.
Say something like that.
Yeah.
And that's what I was going to say. But just like a lot of other things is we sometimes learn how to override our natural instincts, you know. And speaking from my own experience, that's kind of how I viewed it. It's like, yeah, there's a part of me that does from time to time want to believe and go, oh man, it'd be cool, you know, it'd be nice if I could rely back on this and just know that was going to take care of everything. There are times when I think that, you know, and that's just being real. But when it comes down to the question of being able to actually believe, I'm not able to do that. So for some of us, I think, and as the idea, and like so many other things right now, as the idea becomes less and less taboo, you know, for a while, even saying, I don't believe, you could be killed,
right?
You know, so, or ostracized from an entire town or city or something like that. So just like a lot of other things, you have a lot of people who are right now just kind of open to the idea. And so you'll see that take hold now. It'll lose some power. It'll lose some influence, I'll say, as we go through the whole climate change situation. But as we come out on the other side, that's when you see it'll kick back in.
Have you ever looked at the beauty of art and
yes, all the time. I love art, love plants. You know, I love plants. Have you ever looked at the art of a plant?
I mean, but not a plant. Not a plant, and specifically. I'm saying that specifically for a reason. Have you ever looked at the art, architecture, listen to the music, just the sheer, you know, beauty of all of the things that have come out of, and because of meaning. It came out of meaning.
Right.
And these meanings were tied to something that is bigger than them. And it was like a oneness.
Right.
And they decided to name it whatever they decided to name it. I don't think that God piece will ever go away, because I think we're downplaying the magnitude of meaning. Like, religion gives us a lot of meaning. That's how we got there. You follow me?
And I totally agree with you on that.
I think they're gonna always. You're never going to. The I, whatever that is, who I am personally, am myself, Ron Johnson. Who I am and what I believe will always be so interconnected. An attack on one is an attack on the other.
Right. And don't get me wrong, I understand that there's always going to be a portion of the population that feels that way. I just don't think it right now, like how we saying, even still globally with the numbers on the decline.
Sure.
Religious people are still the majority of the population when we're talking worldwide. But I think at some point in the future, it's going to switch, and it'll be the majority will be the people who don't believe.
See, I don't think the numbers are accurately reflecting what we thought we were measuring. See,
that may be true too.
I think the data they presented was correct data to a bad question.
Because even in that study that they did with the University of Michigan, they had to go back and revise their numbers.
I wasn't even there.
Yeah, because they had to go back and revise their numbers. Now, the only thing that changed is from what they discovered was that, so say where the numbers went negative, like where the religious people lost numbers, they still lost numbers. They just didn't lose as much as they had originally thought. So it was still a decrease, but it wasn't as great of a decrease.
I bet you when they asked the question, hey, do you subscribe to religion or that kind of stuff? I would not be surprised if the numbers went down, because I don't want to be associated with a specific institution. But I guarantee you, their sense of faith, those numbers were not affected.
But I think one thing that was interesting is that they did even include things like pagan religions and even nature worship, as a matter of fact. So I thought that was pretty broad of them to be able to include to include those as part of the
it doesn't matter
of a religion.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, but that's what I'm trying to tell you. There is not a decline. See, when we say there's a decline of people believing in religion, you automatically start thinking there's a decline of the number of people that believe in God. If you default there, bad default.
Right.
Because that's not what the question is.
I think
that's not what they're measuring.
A lot of it too could be parents of those not pushing it onto their children, so their children don't have nothing to do.
No.
So of course they're gonna hit.
No.
But see,
No.
I think I know where you're going, Ron. So just like we talked about previously, and I wish you had been here for that show when we talked about religion and spirituality.
I saw that.
Right. So what we're talking, if the question is religion,
You're absolutely correct.
right?
Now,
Then you might be right.
Now, absolutely. Thank you for being holding true. Thank you for holding honest to the conversation.
Yeah, true.
So if we're going to get rid of the institution of religion, I'm all for it. But let's understand how we got there. We got there because of some system of belief that cannot be proven, something you have to believe in that has no rational reason for being here other than the fact that it's taken for granted, full granted, it's been here talking about namely God. My question is, why does that keep coming up?
That's who we are. We gotta believe in something bigger than us.
See, that part, if you notice on the religion numbers of religion going down, I guarantee you, if you ask those same exact people on that same test and said, do you subscribe to any religion? No. Okay. If you say, do you subscribe to any faith? No. Okay. Do you have a belief in something else, but you just can't prove it, or you don't know nothing about it, or you think it's too big to name or define? They'd be like, yeah, I think it's something bigger than us.
Right.
You hear that talk all the time.
Right. Ancestors, all of that stuff.
You hear that talk all the time. But that line of thinking, if you're going to hold true what you said, everything you said earlier, when I sat here and listened, then all of that is still hocus pocus. All of that should end up going away for you. Because as a scientist, you shouldn't have no room. Just like of not believing in a God, you shouldn't be calling on your ancestors.
But see, I in the way that I look at it, and again, this is just my personal view, okay? And maybe it's because I've read too many books, but to me, they're all stories, and I love stories.
Okay, cool.
So, like, I can read about different gods and things like that from different religions,
Okay.
different faiths, and all of this kind of stuff.
Cool.
You know, and I find it fascinating, and I can draw things from it. I can learn from it.
Cool.
But again, when it comes down to that question of just saying I believe in this, no. But I can see the reflection.
I'm not tripping. I'm not tripping. I ain't talking about none of that.
Right.
I'm talking about explaining the data that they gave us without telling us what they was really measuring.
Right.
And when we're asking the question, is religion a thing of the past, a vision of hope, a necessary evil? We're not talking about whatever flavor you decided to add to it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care. You could be from ancient Egypt, you could be from the new Heaven's Gate Church. I don't care. It's just all of
With the
that,
Heaven's Gate.
but all of that is variation on a theme.
Right.
I want to know how we got there. We always go to this oneness.
It's always there.
Now, I always pull this out on John. Whenever John and I had these conversations, and science right now is on my side, and John stopped me from lying.
Okay.
And they looked at the Big Bang. This is why religion ain't going away. When they looked at the Big Bang,
It's his favorite go-to.
Because it's true.
Right.
It is true by scientific means, by the way.
It's not the Trump that you think it is, but okay.
But it's true by scientific standards. Okay, I want to make sure what I'm about to say. It ain't no hocus pocus. This is science, right?
Okay,
This,
go for
this,
it.
this is science. Okay, all right. It's cosmology. They kept trying to figure out, okay, when did life begin? And they broke it down. They had all these different, like, what it starts with a P, protozoans and early forms of life, bacteria, the small, single cell. That's when things changed.
Right.
When everything that was here, you had rocks and, all kind of stuff. But in terms of how they have determined that the beginning of life on planet Earth, as we know it, starts with a single cell. We even have a name for it, and I cannot remember the name that science gives us. And that means if you was a dinosaur, whether you believe in them or not, they're the bones. Or whether you're talking about a duck or a chicken or a whale or a worm, they have traced all life as we identify life.
They call it the earliest common ancestor.
It's the earliest common ancestor. And that is the moment we have that single cell, because that single cell gave rise to everything else. Why am I bringing this up? Because the natural world itself was already here. The rocks, the water, the air, lava here, whatever. And they asked the question, well, when is the first moment of life? It was when this cell got here, okay? How did that cell become? Science says we have no idea. After science says, hey man, we have inanimate objects, and now we have an animate object. How did we get from inanimate objects, which is what everything in this universe around us so far has become, measured as inanimate, right? Okay, how did we get from that to this one cell of life?
See, and this is why I say that our viewpoints at that point that you love to make is different. Because whereas you get to that blank and you automatically default to God.
No.
Or something supernatural.
No.
So
no.
Then what's the point?
No. My question is, the scientific method in terms of how we understand everything we take for face value and we hold our hand up to the Hippocratic Oath because we believe in science. We have to explain every supposition that we make, which is what science does. The question came to science. How did we get from nothing to something?
They're changing that now. Change when? They're saying,
but that's not talking there. But that's not talking about.
But he's talking more local as far as the beginning of actual life on the planet.
Like when the first time science says this is when life in the universe as we know it came to be with the single cell protozoan or whatever, single cell bacteria, whatever. There is nothing that shows or answers that question. So the scientists have to make an irreducible leap. We're right back to religion now, aren't we?
No, it is an educated guess. It is an educated guess. They basing that on the knowledge that they have available at the time. But the difference is, Ron, is that science is okay with not having that answer yet.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
You're not telling me.
But it doesn't try to fill. It doesn't have to fill in that blank with something until it knows what the answer is.
I got no issue with that.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. So. Yeah, we don't know that now, but at some point in the future, if until we find something that can contradict the scientific method and how we come across this kind of knowledge, we'll eventually get there.
John,
so when I die, I'm eventually gonna get to heaven.
I think we are totally missing the point when we say if we confuse the reduction of an institution. And the reduction of an institution being, how many of you subscribe to being called a Muslim or Jew, a Zoroastrian, agnostic, whatever the case may be? I have no issue with none of that, but don't let that be an indicator that we're becoming more rational thinkers.
Right.
Because you still have people that are just no longer conforming to particular institutions and labels. But don't make a mistake in thinking that we're becoming a more rational species. That's why I asked him and I sat in, I listened closely. That's why I asked him, I was like, wait a minute. So you're saying religion should go down because we become more rational? If the answer is yes, you miss the whole argument. Because religion is not about an institution as much as it is meaning. It's meaning. So when you start getting rid of the boogeyman, if you start saying, hey, religion's gonna go away.
But you can have meaning without religion, right?
I have no argument with that.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. But there's the only part that you're missing when you remove religion from the equation is the faith.
John, let me ask you a question. If we took religion out of the equation altogether, every single religion on the planet, if we took it out, in terms of what appropriate moral behavior would be. On what basis would anyone stand to be able to tell me my action is right or wrong?
Society would.
What moral standard?
Society would.
And what has society agreed upon?
I mean, there are common laws that apply across the board.
What is jail based on?
We say if you do something wrong, you go to jail. That's based on punishment, I guess. Same shit.
But moral, correct or incorrect action that should occur in society. Even though we may not say there's a separation of church and state in America, even though we say that, if you look at most of our laws, we know exactly where most of our laws come from, and it comes from the Abrahamic tradition. You understand what I'm saying? That's where it comes from.
That's why
if you remove the Abrahamic laws and that whole history, on what basis now are we going to make our laws? Are we going to let the group?
Your laws would be based on what's best for the society.
For the group. So the group will always trump the singular individual.
In a democracy, that's the idea.
Is that a good thing?
It's the way it is.
What else would we default to? Let's say, okay, all right, let's look at it. So we got all these different people. Let's say we're getting rid of religion altogether. So now our laws and our rules are subject to the individuals at that time that may be in power that say, okay, here are the laws. What was good for them? They said, hey, man, killing other people wasn't a good idea for the group. Now we may get into it. So we can make that part of the law. Would you subscribe to that?
I mean, you're talking about an extreme example of what might happen in the society. So by that same token, you could say, okay, I'm going to pass a law that makes healthcare a standard for everybody because nobody should die not being able to afford medical care, or later on the society say, well, we're kind of strapped on cash. We don't want to do that no more. If you die, okay, well, you just die. So, I mean, those kind of equivalencies can be made, but if you're voting people into office who, in a democratic society, if you're voting people in office who don't care about the common man, you're going to always find that kind of situation. But we're talking about if, how am I trying to say it? If you want to paint it in a worst case scenario, yes, you can do that. And yes, that would be bad. That would be horrible. Nobody would want that. But you can also paint it in the best light scenario. And if you have a society that's taking care of its people and doing what they're supposed to do, then generally speaking, those people would follow the rules of that society. You're gonna always have some outliers. Don't get me wrong.
Outliers.
Yes.
More people died under communism almost than all the people
if you're talking about the USSR,
we can go to Venezuela.
Okay, but again,
we can go to Cuba.
But you're talking about dictator situations. So
what other situations have we had?
Okay, those are examples of socialism and communism, but those aren't necessarily the type of societies that I'm talking about.
But they're there.
But they exist, yes.
Right. So they're
but there are good examples of socialism as well.
You know what? We're about out of time. Before we go, though, necessary evil, thing of the hope of the
past,
what was
vision
your,
of the
which one
future.
did you
What's
see
yours?
as? You never told us. You just listened to what we said.
I had
What's yours?
my honestly, this is what I believe. I really believe this. That's why I put this. I believe this. Religion is regarded by the common people as true, by the wise as false, and by the rulers as useful.
Right.
That's what I believe.
And that's exactly what it is.
That was the quote.
I
It's
saw
a nice
that.
show.
I like that quote too.
That's what I believe.
But all right, so
That's my answer. Lucius. Thank you, Lucius.
Right.
so thank y'all for joining
Peace.
us on this
White
episode
man,
of
long
Daily
time
Smoke.
ago.
Hopefully, y'all find the conversation stimulating, if nothing else. And if you do agree or disagree with something that either one of us have said this evening, please leave a comment and let us know. Thank y'all for joining us. As
Absolutely.
always, I'm your boy, Brother Jam.
Brother Los.
I'm Brother Ron.
Brother Black Hank.
Don't forget Taboo Tuesday, and we got a special guest on Wednesday too. B-Tap.
Yes, B-Tap speaks. Yes, I
That's
gotta
on
get to work
Wednesday, so
myself.
Yeah,
we got
for
a special
sure.
guest. So make sure y'all keep go to the website. You'll
Love
know
you too, Mama
everything.
Bears.
All right, thank y'all for joining
Peace.
us. As always, we
Peace.
love y'all. Peace.
Peace out.